Over 150 players entered the tavern, and now only 2 remain. It is Pardub taking on Burro for the DreamHack Winter Championship title, and bringing you the action will be Falcone and Lorinda. Welcome back to the desk, guys. It's been an exciting weekend, and we've ended up with 2 players who are relative unknowns in the scene, which is a situation that we've not actually had at a DreamHack yet this year. There's always been a player that is competitive and well-known to a degree. Lorinda, are you excited about this because it's 2 players we don't know as much about?
Yep, got to be honest, I'd have loved to have seen Boston and Faley fighting it out to see which one could take one home. But it is a nice change for 2 of the lesser-known guys who have obviously put in a lot of work to get to the final. One of these is going to make a name for himself, and the other one probably already has.
That's a good point and a fantastic segue. So let's talk about these players. Falc, I've been dancing around the issue a little bit over the weekend, but we've seen Pardub enough on stream now that I have to ask the question, what do you think about him?
I think we've seen Pardub BM quite a lot. I think we've seen some kind of awkward plays from Pardub, actually. We've seen some slow rolling, we've seen some roping for lethals. I think Pardub is painting himself as the bad guy in this finals.
I think he absolutely is, but to the point where, Lorinda, you actually spoke to one of Pardub's friends.
Yeah, and his friend came up to me and said along the lines of, he said Pardub's the bad guy. I'm like, yeah, I know. He goes, no, Pardub is the bad guy. He's always like this. It's not just an act for DreamHack, it's just how he is.
Well, you can see regardless
With friends like that, who needs enemies?
Regardless of the way he's characterized himself, he did have to take down some really competent players to get to this point. And, be it luck, be it strategy, I think preparation has a lot to do with it, because we've got Questrogue on both sides of this bracket. So clearly, a lot of thought went into crafting this lineup, and it's paid off in spades for Pardub. I'm interested, if he wins, to see what happens in the interview. Let's put it that way. And now his opponent, Burro, seems to be a little bit more timid, a little bit more even-tempered, and just has come across as a really normal guy. He's played well. He's had a couple of small mistakes here and there, a little bit of shaky Mally Druid play in the mirror up against Tyler, but other than that, his last series against Faeli was pretty clean.
Yeah, I think the way to word how he's playing, he admitted, he was saying that he feels he's put in so much practice just to even try to compete on the same level as the top pros. And I think he's playing to the best of his ability. I think he's making very few mistakes compared to what he would expect to make. I think he's really getting the most out of himself, and that's how he's got here.
So he's our hero, then?
In defense of Pardub, by the way, to humanise him slightly, I asked Pardub, do you want to shout anybody out? And normally when you ask the bad guy, do you want to shout anybody out, they say, I will win. And he didn't say that. He said, I'd like to shout out my older brother.
Okay.
So there's a human in there somewhere.
Ah, you've killed it.
And you know what? Oftentimes we do have Hearthstone players who are so afraid to build a personality for themselves in the community eye at all, to the point where they get up here, and when I ask them the questions in their winners interview, they apologize and they act very humble, almost to a fault.
And then you bully them.
And then I bully them. Sorry, Sohyun. But I think Pardub he's just taken it to a different side of the spectrum, right? He's just taken it to a more, I'm going to be a personality, and you're going to like it. And at least it's something different.
That's sort of been a story for the entirety of DreamHack Winter so far, is players really just being themselves on camera. They've been very entertaining for us all the way through, and Pardub, he's just taken that to the next level. And honestly, as much as we're making fun of him for it, it's great to see these different personalities on stream. It just heightens the excitement for me.
Shout out to a lot of the pro players, too many to name this weekend, where doing the tour for the whole year, it's been about sort of developing people's stories, explaining who people are, and sometimes, frankly, that has been difficult, reducing them to numbers at times. But this tournament, a lot of those guys have just sat there, they played their Hearthstone, a little bit less pressure because either they got their Masters points already or whatever, and it's been a joy to watch these guys actually do that for us for once.
Let me put it in this context. In wrestling, there's the good guys and there's the heels. And the heels are the ones who present themselves as the bad guys. They're the villains, they're the antagonists. The audience sometimes loves the heel. They absolutely love the heal. I think Pardub is presenting himself as one of the very few heals that we have in Hearthstone, something that Amnesiac sort of did a little bit and then restrained himself from because a lot of the community really didn't like it. But Pardub could be the first real venture into having a heal in Hearthstone that we've seen in a very long time. And I'm excited about it. I think it's cool.
In all media, you have to have these characters that you love to hate, you know? Severus Snape, King Joffrey, you know? Pick a TV show, film, whatever. Any caster.
Can I be Jerry Lawler?
Jerry the King Lawler?
Yes, please.
Sure.
You mentioned lineups briefly a moment ago, Cora. I just want to point out, like, yeah, they're both bringing Quest Rogue. They're also both bringing Even Paladin, and they're both bringing Malygos Druid. And that just goes to show how important preparation is. These guys almost have identical decks.
Yes, they have very similar lineups, which is unusual in a last hero standing format, but now that we have addressed the lineups, we've addressed the characterization of these players, we want to know what you think. Who is going to be the DreamHack Winter 2018 champion? Will it be hashtag Pardub or will it be hashtag Burro? Get your votes in. Make sure you're following the channel. And from here, we get a chance to actually check out the bans because we need to give a little bit more context, I think, to the way that this series is going to develop, especially since the lineups are so incredibly similar.
The only difference is that Pardub is bringing a Cloning Gallery Priest. Burro is bringing Death Rattle Hunter. Both Paladins have been banned. This has been a common trend throughout the entire weekend, actually.
Yes, even Paladin has been seen as very threatening over the course of this weekend, and bar none has been the more popular Paladin deck. But Pardub with the Druid, that Cloning Gallery Priest, and the Quest Rogue. Burro with the Druid, that Death Rattle Hunter, and the Quest Rogue Lorinda. With these bans in mind, who do you think is going to be the DreamHack champion?
In Atlanta, Cloning Gallery Priest was the winner, incredibly. And I think we're going to see it again, which makes me the bad guy. I think Pardub's going to do this.
You're just the guy holding up the sign in the audience. Falk, who are you holding up a sign for?
We've seen very bad performances from Cloning Gallery Priest all weekend so far.
Including a turn 5 kill in the semi-finals.
That was pretty good.
I kind of want to support Pardub because of the bad guy thing.
I want to support Burro because
it's entertaining.
Burro, when I ask people, would you like to shout something out and give me some information? Quite a lot of people say, just say anything. But I'm like, and I have to prompt them. Burro just sent me an essay yesterday, which I went through. Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
But I think it's okay. It's okay. Productions put my prediction down as Pardub. I think Burro is going to win.
Oh, so you're changing?
I'm not changing. I just hadn't finished talking.
Yeah, I just cut him off like I do, because that's my job as the bad guy at the desk.
Good job,
Falcone has abandoned his man Pardub, and instead, he's rooting for the opponent, Burro.
I think I'm rooting for Pardub, but I think Burro is going to win.
Okay. I'm going to have to put my support behind Pardub as well, I think.
Oh, okay.
And backstage, I have been watching this guy play, and I've been like, he hits the hello again. He threatens. He well plays. He ropes. I'm like, oh, man. But I've been more hyped up about Hearthstone games when he's playing than I have in a while.
Is this why I passed you the steel chair? And you hit Falk?
Oh, we're not playing a chairs and ladders match. There's no cage. I'm not going to throw him 16 feet off of a steel cage onto an announcer's table. It's not happening here. But maybe Pardub will do that if he loses. We're going to have to find out because it's time to find out what you thought will be the result of this tournament. The finals, everything comes down to this. Did you predict it would be Pardub or did you predict it would be Burro? It is not as in favor of Pardub as I thought it would be. But it is still 54% for Pardub, 46% for Burro. A rather even split.
I see you, Twitch chat. I see you.
I don't love a 54% win rate, so this is close.
It is quite close. I think it's anybody's series. I think that reflects in the audience votes. I think that reflects in the lineups. I think that reflects in the play and the overall performance of both of these players this weekend. So without further ado, let's find out who is going to be the DreamHack Winter 2018 champion. Is it going to be Pardub or is it going to be Burro? The finals start right now.
Well, Lorinda, it all comes down to this. Pardub, our heel, I suppose, as Cora's put it.
Did you notice she quoted a flavor text from a card with a 16-foot off the steel cage?
I didn't.
The Undertaker.
Aha!
I'm not going to do any accents, but that is basically the flavor text on that card. But it's a reference to a wrestling match.
I don't even know the new flavor text. But yeah, versus Burro. Let the games begin. It's Mali Druid versus Death Rattle Hunter. So you can definitely make the argument that Burro got the good matchup to begin this last
Yeah, I was
series.
half expecting Pardub to queue. Well, he can't queue his Paladin. He shut the emotes up right at the start. So, yeah, I was thinking, where's the Paladin hellos? But yes, good start here. But the hands are both pretty slow and grim.
Just skimming through the deck list one last time. Nothing unusual whatsoever. The Hunter running the Devil Sword tech rather than Swamp King Dread or Highmane, which we have seen both of throughout this tournament.
And this was a feature of Burro's play that I actually like, and it is Burro, not Burr. We got confirmation finally. This is where I say I think he's getting the most out of what he can do, coupled with all that preparation he's done. He doesn't rope every turn, but he doesn't instantly do anything every turn either. He takes a moment, has a think, remembers what he's learned, remembers how the matchup works, all that good stuff, and then just makes his play. So he's very steady. He's not going to make any Pyromancer coin oops mistakes. He's just taking his time without being ridiculous about it.
I wonder.
Pardub, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. Let's face it. I know we've built that up a lot, but really, I don't think we've had a good guy versus bad guy match like this since Luca versus Fujitora.
Yeah, that's true. And it's really great to see. I think you can easily make the argument that this is the most important game of Hearthstone that either of these players have ever played in their life. The DreamHack Winter Finals.
Yeah, this is a big deal. This title this year has been won by so many great players. Seun, Just Saying, Amnesiac.
Yeah.
Maverick.
Right.
You know, Fury Hunter. These guys aren't usually mentioned in the same sentence as those people. It's a great opportunity for them both. And obviously this slow start from both players, if it wasn't for the Katharina, and that's a really unfortunate pickup there for Burro, would favour the Druid equalising much more easily than normal.
It's an unfortunate pickup for Burro unless he doesn't draw any more beasts, because if he doesn't draw any more beasts, then he will get one Grizzly and one Charged Devil Saw from this Katharina. If he can go Katharina into Devil Saw on 8 and King Crush on 9, it's not the worst thing in the world. Pardub just going to try and have to keep himself as healthy as he possibly can.
Yeah, something you know about Hunter when they don't do the egg into stuff start is that their hand is full of big things and you need that health.
Right.
You're going to take a couple of big hefty slaps from some charge minions at some point in the game, and you're not going to be able to defend it with spreading play because they're going to come out of the Katharina. You're going to have to... You know something bad is coming your way.
This is also a bit of a dodgy turn Pardub has to worry about, because Grizzly, we've talked about it all weekend, Grizzly Cube playdead just wins games.
It's a coming.
But Pardub had the removal for it, so that's okay. Pardub is going to be able to coin out Ultimate Infestation at the turn after next.
Yeah. Good old Innovate.
And Burro can't really do anything until that Katharina turn. His draws have been...
awful.
Yeah, I was going to say lackluster, but awful is more accurate.
It's hard to say how bad, because obviously Cube Play Dead looked like it would be fantastic, except it wasn't. But you really need to start doing some damage. I know you can do it in big lumps later on, but the Druid can just kill you a bit later on. It can go into combo mode very rapidly with his hand. And Burro, I think, using this, he's not expecting this to live or do anything. He's hoping it just uses up some mana for Pardub. But Pardub's got a better play in mind. It involves using this UI to win the Hearthstone game. Which seems like a good plan to me.
It does seem like a good plan. Pardub actually is lacking in his late game threats. Unlike most of the Malygos Druids that we've seen this weekend, he's not actually playing the Lich King. His endgame is literally just the Malygos, the Alexstrasza, and that's it. So he needs to get that damage. He needs the combo to work. And getting that ultimate infestation out nice and quickly is a nice way to start getting there. Burro can't even play Katharina yet.
Yeah, and he's looking for something to cube. He's not being particularly greedy. I mean, I know you save the ooze for the weapon, but yeah, maybe the ooze could have come down a turn earlier just to try and give himself something to cube. And Pardub's just saying, well, you've got no healing. Might as well do the 15 now. And give you a really big issue to deal with. Means that the Katharina, you might end up trading with the minion you get.
Yeah.
Actually, you could get a King Crush, which you won't because it's in his hand.
If he gets the Devil Saw, he'll trade it and trade the minion. If he gets Witch with Grizzly, it might just get naturalized. So it's not worth the risk. He's got to go with the guaranteed kill on the Alex Strauser.
Yeah, this turn's fine, but obviously it's 2 cards or 3 cards for one. It's also fine for Pardub, and Pardub not a million miles already away from just winning the game.
Burro needs to find his Ziliax / his Deathstalker Rexar as soon as possible, because Pardub, the damage in his hand, it is just going to be lethal with a couple hero powers. Swipe, hero power, ultimate infestation, and then one more hero power would do it. Yeah,
he can. I think what he wants to do, this is what I'm expecting him to do, is the Wild Growth and the Tyrant. I think what he wanted to do was Wild Growth and keep cycling there. Because this isn't about doing the damage. This is about just giving Burro something to worry about while Pardub finds the final pieces he needs, which isn't much at all. I mean, if it does damage, that's great, but it's not going to in the real world. It's just Burro has to mess around dealing with it. And while he's dealing with it, he's not doing any of that 51 damage that he needs to get done.
It's a big old health total that Pardub still has. Looking at the, even looking at the face expressions of the players right now, it sort of tells this good guy, bad guy story that little bit more. Burro is just concentrating. Pardub, he looks disgruntled.
He does.
He just looks annoyed, doesn't he?
Have you seen him around the arena?
I haven't.
He's pretty large. You wouldn't want to disgruntlify him.
Would he throw me onto a table and...
Probably from the top of a steel cage. I should imagine that would be a mismatch.
Let's see.
Against me, it would also be a mismatch. Well, Burro's doing the best he can, obviously, and he must fear the worst every turn just because of that early Alex. But actually, terrible though it is for him, he is playing to his outs on the situations where he's not dead, and this is one of the situations where he's not dead. He's trying just to get this massive board set up and somehow win the game.
Pardub isn't really afraid of anything right now. I guess he's trying to work out how many play deads it would take for a cube for that Challenge Devil Sword to be lethal. Like, what if Burro has cube, play dead, Terra Scale? That's what he's thinking. As it happens, Burro does have cube and Terra Scale, but 5 Devil Sword attacks to the face plus Katharina isn't actually enough for lethal still.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. And so now at any point, Pardub has Malfurion.
Is that enough? Okay, so Burro can hit face twice, go cube, 2 play deads, and Terra Scale this turn. I don't know if he's got enough board space.
Yeah, so how much? So what's the maximum he can get? And then we'll work out if he can get that. He can get 4 more 7/4s, so 34 damage.
Yeah, just 4 more.
Yeah, 28 plus the 6. And can he kill any of them off anyhow?
No.
No, because he has to activate the cube. He can't actually kill the cube.
Oh.
And he can't do any shenanigans to kill his own minion. He's doing some counting here, but he can only do 34. Silly druid. He can, however, as he is on 2, not on 1, take the chance, and I think he's going to commit to it, do that damage and say, if you don't have Spreading Plague or damage at all, I kill you. Or does he think he's got enough now to set it up for next turn and be safe for the minions and the weapons? This is a lot of damage. And so next turn... Yeah, he's going for as much as he can, but still setting up. This is nice.
Either way, it does not matter. Pardub has ultimate infestation in his hand. He will be taking this first game. Burro just had so much damage available to him. The only thing stopping him was lack of board space. He didn't have enough space to summon the 7 attack dinosaurs.
Yeah, and that's a lot of dinosaurs he could have had in a different rule set.
If not for space limitations, he could have hit face with 7 dinosaurs that turn.
And that's why there are only 7 spots on the board, because silly decks like that would get built, and nobody likes to die like that. Burro's teammates from Royal Blue, Kamor and Chabu Dennis, saw him play from the airport in the semi-finals. So don't know if they're going to get to watch him play. He doesn't know if they're going to get to watch. They might be on their flight by now. They might be home by now. I'm not sure how far they've got to go. Not too far, I don't think. So he's on his own without his teammates here as well. Sounds like the classic sort of sports story. The good guy just been like deserted for various reasons, out of control.
So with Hunter eliminated, Burro had to choose between the Quest Rogue, and the mirror match goes with the Quest Rogue.
He loves this deck.
Oh, really?
He absolutely loves this deck. He bans it when even half a chance comes up. I was talking to CKL, and he banned that Rogue in that matchup. And CKL was saying, I didn't think that was the thing he should do, but Burro just thinks Quest Rogue is busted.
How do you have half a chance to ban a deck?
So if you've got sort of a choice between this or that, and you're not really sure, maybe one's 1% better, but you want to ban the second best deck.
Playing a new Hearthstone format. 3.5 decks, half a ban.
But I mean, there are people you don't want to face with like you don't want to face Fibonacci's Warrior. If it's a close call, you just ban the Warrior. Yeah. And he's like that with everybody in their Quest Rogue. If there's a close call, he just bans the Quest Rogue and moves on with his life.
With good reason. Quest Rogue in both finalists' decks.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous how often Rogue finds its way into a final when you don't see that much Rogue.
Right.
It's going to come down to cloning gallery Priest. It could do.
Cloning gallery versus whatever Burro's final deck is would be a very interesting finale to this DreamHack Winter experience.
Okay, so loads of control here for Burro. Having to play the Mimic Pod maybe a little bit earlier than he would like, because his hand is... It's a surviving hand, not an aggressive hand for the time being.
It is. He does have Sonya, plus minions that can rush in. But the problem is, Pardub isn't going to be playing any minions to be rushed into.
Yeah. Yeah, we must point out, we've said that Pardub has played a little bit suboptimally.
Yep.
But we are comparing these guys to the best guys in the world.
Yeah, of course we are.
You know, it's not just trying to hype up the final to say they're very good at Hearthstone. They're under a lot of pressure, and they are not quite as good as the best guys in the world. That's why they're not the best guys in the world. But they are still incredibly powerful players. But we have to compare them to the field that they are in.
Of course. We're not messing around.
So where I was going with that is he's probably not just going to walk into a Sonya into minions.
We're not messing around. We're talking about a DreamHack finals right now between these two players, and that's the standard that we're judging them by. As there's a bouncer for Burro. The pieces are sort of starting to come together.
I mean, they kind of have to, right? Because the rest of his hand isn't.
Scalehide isn't what he wants to be bouncing, but he can play this, prep vanish.
Yeah.
Play them again next turn, bounce one. He's practically there with the quest.
Doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
These modern kids and their lack of bounce. When I was a lad, we just bounced it loads of times, like 3 times, played 4 of them, made an army of 5/5s, and killed you on turn 4.
It wasn't quite that long ago.
Don't know what they're messing around at these days, these youngsters.
Burro's going to want to save that second vanish if possible to answer a spreading plague later on, maybe pick up lethal immediately with it.
Oh, now there's a minion.
There is. So, Sonya, Scalehide.
Coin. Oh, you don't even need coin. Yeah, you can complete with coin.
Maybe you don't even play Sonya here.
Yeah, he's just going to take it steady.
Holding that back, playing that after Valera, it's so much value.
Yeah. Yeah, he's under no pressure, really. He will be soon, but not yet.
I'm going to just pop one onto the board. To use one of my favourite Lorinda-isms.
You use a lot of Lorinda-isms. I may have to start copywriting them. And here comes the early Alex again, though.
That's scary.
And again, double swipe in hand and a Moonfire this time.
That's even scarier.
And a Floop is active. How scary can we make this, Dan?
If there was a Malygos, this would be...
Yeah, just 2-turn death.
Scary Mary.
That's really scary.
But it's not. And Glacial Shard can do a pretty good job here of freezing the Alexstrasza. I don't think the Druid has any way of silencing that Alexstrasza, or allowing it to hit the face anyway, so that's not something Burro will be afraid of. It's considering the Vanish, though.
So many.
He can't... Oh, yeah, he could go Scalehide, Quest, coin Glacial Shard, put the Scalehide into the Mind Control tech, I guess. Puts him up to 19, clears the board except for the Alexstrasza, which is frozen anyway. But he's got to make a decision now. Oh, Burro! There are animations you got to think about here.
Wow.
All right, he's got that. He's made that play. Is he going to get the trade in? No, Burro!
Oh my goodness!
No!
Wow.
Oh.
And he has played so steadily throughout all of this top 8. Wow.
Okay.
I was trying to work out what was going on throughout most of the end of that turn. I saw what he was trying to do, but he still had his notes in his left hand, and he was sort of moving quite slowly with the right and didn't seem to be panicking, so I assumed he was just going to get there. But those animations... Shake it off.
All right. So 13
I'm surprised
damage.
Pardub didn't emote him there, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
He's actually try-harding a bit more now.
13 damage available to Pardub right now with double swipe, hero power, Moonfire, and the trade on the Mind Control tech. Not quite lethal. And Burro's board still represents a threat. Pardub needs to work out if he needs to get rid of that Scalehide.
Yeah.
Time goes short.
Taking his time with this turn as well. But removing Burro's chance to heal is the problem. Burro could be at 19 health here.
In fairness, it probably won't matter. It might do, but there's so much damage accumulating in Pardub's hand. He either massacres Burro or he doesn't. But it obviously is massively important.
It's made the difference of 7 health. Because Burro would be on 18 now, because that MC Tech wouldn't fit the face, and he'd healed 4 from the lifesteal.
Yeah.
That's a big health difference against
a
a
lot.
deck like Malygos Druid, where the whole point is burning you down.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be making those sort of mistakes, but must also stress that that is not a strategy mistake. That is just straight up mechanics under pressure.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not the time of all the times to make that happen.
But it's the time it's going to happen. It's, again, I said it a few moments ago, it's the most important game of Hearthstone either of these players have ever made.
Yeah. And so far, Pardub is coping the better. It's got to be said.
Burro looks like he's in pain now.
Yeah, and he's been so hard to rattle through the good games and the bad games, and usually your worst enemy in these situations is yourself, as the cliche goes. He has Valera in hand. I don't think he's dead. He might be dead. No, he's not dead.
It's real close.
It is really close. That's why I'm pausing. As a caster, when things are close and you make an objective decision, you have to double check yourself.
Naturalize the Wax Elemental, double swipe the face. No, that doesn't actually do anything, does it? Just double swipe the face, Moonfire the face.
It forces an extra 1 through, but he needs to force an extra 2.
Burro can play Valera. He can still draw the second Scalehide. He's played 2, but 1 did come from a living pod, so it's not lights out just yet.
However, it needs to be incredibly good.
Naturalize is going to help him get there.
Okay, and he may get other options as well. Now he's got nothing to trade into, even if he draws it.
Very smart play by Pardub there.
It's nice to see this because we have, said he's been a bit shaky, but that's really tidy. Just getting rid of all the available options there for the only health gain in the deck.
Wow. Burro had the only other health gain in the deck. Valera's put him up to 8. Ultimate Infestation isn't lethal anymore.
No.
And even if not for the stealth, it's still not lethal. So it's going to hit a minion.
Here comes some more waves of attack. Pardub not scared to make the right play either for the burn cards. We saw Burro, one of his games, be a little bit timid about, oh, what if I burn my Malygos, and it nearly cost him. Pardub's just like, this is the right play. If I burn it, well, that was the right play.
This is getting so close.
These do turn around quickly, and that extra 8 health now, or 7 health now, is a big deal.
Yes. Double Moonfire plus a hero power with Malfurion. That's 5 damage.
Shadow Step isn't a Scale Hide, but it's actually quite useful if a Scale Hide turns up. In some situations, at least. But even then, Pardub not committing to anything silly. He's making the minions big enough that they either trade, and so you can't get any big shenanigans. I guess you get Sonya shenanigans. That's pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a Scale Hide right now would have been huge for Burro.
Yeah, it would have been probably turn around the game, actually.
Sonya, play a Scale Hide, get 2 back, play them both.
How close to lethal is he getting here? We've been talking about the defensive side, but there's a lot of charge on this board.
There he is.
There is a huge amount of charge on this board.
He can get another 12 easily. And with Vanish, that is lethal. Because he plays a deck camp 3 times thanks to the 2 Shadow Steps. Burro actually managed to get there.
We were concentrating on the defense, but he managed to get himself back together despite his error. If he gets the timing in, and he's pulling funny faces because of what happened last time.
He's fine.
He's done this before. You can see how quickly he's clicking that before he gets back to hand, which is something I can never master. 1 game all here in this final from absolutely nowhere, and it's no wonder Burro thinks this deck is busted.
I didn't want to sound too surprised there when I said Burro actually managed to get there, but it was because of that huge mistake earlier that really did stack the odds against him, but he found a way, and I didn't spot that lethal straight away, Lorinda. It was a very complicated one, but the Vanish, the deckhand, the extra deckhand from the Shadow Embrace, it took him a while, but he found it, and it shows Burro is clearly very proficient with this deck.
Yeah, and bounced back from the mistake. Even though he's obviously, like, huffing and puffing right now and annoyed at himself, he's also not letting it affect his play. Of course it affects you, the rest of you, but he's getting on with it. And now we're going to have the nightmare for everybody concerned. Quest Rogue Mirror. It's a nightmare for me because I can't even say it.
Oh, that was fine.
We're getting there.
That was fine. An improvement over a year and a half ago.
Yeah, we're trying.
Haven't had to cast one of these all weekend. Somehow dodged them.
Yeah, there's been not that much rogue up there, I think, has been the big deal. But the two of the people who brought it has risen to the top. Big talking point before the tournament, of course, because the interaction with Togwaggle changed the matchup significantly.
Yep.
But the people who decided I don't care are the ones who seem to be doing well.
Who can complete that quest first? Burro has Valera. I'm not even sure how helpful that is in the mirror. I feel like the game is quite often over by then. Mimic Pod, incredibly helpful though. Yep, incredibly helpful.
Oh my goodness. The screams you're hearing now are from our crowd. We sometimes joke about some of the loud cheers that go up around DreamHack, but yeah, they're getting excited out there.
Pretty sure all of the players have gathered together for the final. Now, Burro has a very interesting hand because double Brewmaster, you can just play one, use the second to bounce it, Shadow Step it back.
Ooh.
Next turn, play one, play the second one to bounce it. You've just completed the quest.
That's got to be so tempting.
It's not something you see very often, but it is something to think about. It's like you're bouncing deckhands, though. Which is fine, you know, like, he completes the quest this way very easily, given how useful his hand is.
Those deckhands did quite good work last time. One could say.
You could say.
2 million damage against a druid in one turn.
More damage than the charged Devil Swords could do.
Yeah, because they go on the table one at a time. If only you could bounce back your Devil Swords 7 at a time, he would have been fine in the first game.
I mean, you could run them in Quest Rogue, and then you could... There'd be 7 mana 4/4s.
Yeah, they'd be overcharged Devil Swords. And this Zola is very early, which means if the game does happen to go long, it's gone.
If
it's not Shudderwock, the Zola's now done.
Yep, Zola's gone. Valera present for Burro. Burro can't actually deal with the Zola, so I guess Pardub could bounce it back in theory if he wanted to, but that would be a wasted resource.
Yeah, he seems to have committed to it being gone.
Yep.
Is kind of where I was going with that, so...
But playing Burro's cards this way, saving that Shadow Step, means that that quest will be completed and activated next turn. Burro might even consider just dropping the 1-drops onto the board and saying, yep, I'm going to complete the quest next turn.
Yeah, that's the old-fashioned way again.
It is.
Make the big board and just go in for a huge amount of damage immediately after you complete the quest.
He's decided to...
Got to remember, each time you trade a minion, you are trading a 4/4 into a 4/4 effectively.
Right.
May not seem like that at first. And Pardub is actually going for the one of who's making the wall of stuff.
Whilst still bouncing Wax Elementals, getting closer and closer to completing that quest himself. So there's the play Burro has been leading up to now, which is the quest completion. But because of his face being frozen, and because of the Wax Elemental there, he can't actually deal with any of the minions this turn.
Just point out they are both playing Lab Recruiter.
It's been relatively common this weekend, I think. One copy.
Can make things entertaining later on if it does happen to get into a deadlock state.
It can. It's less likely.
It doesn't in practice, but...
Without Giggling Inventors, it's less likely.
Yeah.
With Giggling Inventors...
Oh, God, that was ridiculous, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you literally got to the point where we talk about how do you win, and the way you won that matchup was you count the turns, you vanish, and you play a boar for 1 on the 60th turn and win by 1 health. Or 4 health. In the old version. But you're looking at this is a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage, and that's a lot of 4/4s as well. Pardub completing that quest from right underneath our noses.
And he did set it up some time ago when he just started putting Wax Elementals into play and going for the very quick completion. But I've got quite a few cards to come here, but he looks like he's just going to die. That keeps him alive, at least for now.
If he can just survive until turn 9,
yes,
then he still needs more good stuff, but it will be a good start. If he can survive until turn 9, then you're a Scale Hide, get 2 of them, make the trades.
There aren't many misses, though, in Pardub's deck, and that's a hit.
Oh, my goodness, it's just almost lethal.
One more turn for Burro. He's going to get to draw some cards. He's going to get to make some trades. The Novice plus his natural draw could get him to that turn 9 still. He's
trying to work out whether to play that Shadow Step now. He kind of has to, because if he doesn't, the charge minions get traded into.
Yeah, and all of them could end up dying.
So, let's just bank the damage. A Scale Hide would turn this round drastically right now.
Yeah.
Deckhand's not bad either.
So Novice Engineer first to see where he stands.
Sonya! No way!
There's a massive cheer goes up from behind us.
Sonya and Deckhand can single-handedly or together clear the board. 8 damage gets pushed to the face for the other 2 minions. This has swung back and forth, but now...
Pardub needs a charge minion for next turn lethal. He can't freeze... Oh, he can freeze face. He can freeze face and he needs to freeze face.
And he's doing it.
Yeah, he needs to freeze the face, protect the 1 extra health that the damage would come from the weapon, and he's still got lethal next turn.
Here we go.
This is insane, and Burro, yeah, he doesn't want to look, but he is doing. He's not doing a Tyler. Scale Hide, but it's...
Scale Hide's it's one of the better cards he could draw.
But But now Valera comes down for Burro. He's going to have 2 turns of this board.
Burro is 1 attack off of lethal. That's rush, not charge. Not quite there.
But it's fine. He's got another turn with which to do all this stuff.
You cannot.
And with the scale hide, with the deck hand, Pardub needs his own Valera probably to have any sort of out. And Fan of Knives going to get another card.
Unity.
DreamHack.
Is that...
He's going to have to do 15.
DreamHack is good, but Pardub concedes anyway. Burro takes the 2-0 lead. He is now 1 game away from becoming the DreamHack Winter Champion.
From 3 absolutely insane Hearthstone games. If he gets this done, I think he might not even get in here for the interview. He might just collapse at the desk.
He needs to calm down.
Thing is, first of all, he has the adrenaline of making the mistake where he roped, which, even though it was a huge mistake, it was unlikely to cost him, and then he wins an exciting game. Then he wins another exciting game. He is all over the place, but it's not affecting his play. That's the key.
It doesn't seem to be.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be making a small difference somewhere, but it's not like he's gone to pieces or anything. It's just physically a wreck.
But we had this yesterday. We had a player who had their taste of top 8.
Yes.
And it seems like that was his downfall.
Yeah, he gets to 2-1 or 2-0 and suddenly loses one. It's like, oh no, you've snatched it away from me.
Burro is 1 game away, once again, from becoming the DreamHack Winter Champion.
And Pardub has not necessarily the hand you're looking for here. You're in a hurry. You're not in a huge hurry, but you're in a pretty big hurry. And getting the Radiant early can be actually a downside, oddly enough. It's going to get some damage in. It is against a defenseless rogue, but you then can't do the whole combo in 1 turn quite so easily, which is usual. You usually can't because you draw a piece of the combo. The craziness we saw in the semi-final was everything was still in his deck, which just lets you cheese your opponent to death. It was turn 6.
I think the Radiant is scary for the Quest Rogue, above all else.
Yes.
Pardub is running a more old-school version of the Zerg's cloning Galloy Priest than some of the other ones we've seen. He's running an Obsidian Statue. He's running Shadow Essence, which could actually be played very soon. That's why Burro throws the Gilded Gargoyle. He doesn't want Pardub getting that coin.
Yeah, he got 2 coins in the previous round. That's how he did his turn 6 stupidity.
Interestingly, if Pardub did draw it, then if he wanted to, he could Holy Smite his Gargoyle for 0 mana, get the coin from it, and coin out Shadow Essence, which would cost 5.
Right.
Thanks to the Radiant. So there is still some quirky things he could have done then.
Yeah, so Burro now has got to get a move on and see if he can complete the quest rapidly. Trying to, again, freeze that Gargoyle. He's going to just try and complete this on Glacial Shards to keep it frozen forever.
Whilst bouncing them, it's getting closer and closer to quest completion. 1 more bounce effect, or the Vanish.
Yeah,
all
now
Burro needs.
He's getting the bits and pieces that he does need. But
that's the Vanish. Next turn is not quite going to be there because of mana cost.
But that Gargoyle has not drawn a coin. Yeah, Pardub sort of a bit of a shake of the head for the first time here. It's like, oh, I didn't get the coin I was expecting from this.
It's just annoying at this point. Burro's not letting him do anything.
Yeah, and this is good identification of a fairly rare matchup. Obviously, he has sort of 20 minutes to prepare, plus he did a lot of work. This deck won last week, so he would have definitely had to make sure he knew how to play against it. You can't avoid the previous match as a meta. Ball Control actually planned his whole decks around last time's meta and did incredibly well in the Swiss. Taken a little while to kill him, despite what we've seen in the other 2 games, so complete quest and then start getting some damage in. It's no wonder he thinks this deck is broken, though. Look what he's done for in the last 2 games.
Yeah. Clearly, he knows how to pilot it incredibly well. As that is quest completion, Pardub will probably feel the need to cast that Psychic Scream this turn.
Yeah. He has got the double Holy Smite, which is massively against his deck is. So now he's drawn the Velen, which is even more annoying for him. Just getting more and more of those pieces in his hand, and fewer of those pieces are going to come if he ever does draw the Cloning Galley. If you don't draw it without the Shadow Essence and stuff, it just becomes incredibly hard to win the Hearthstone game.
Yeah, the fact that he's just missed the Shadow Essence the whole game, it's like the key to the deck. It's weird that a lot of it's still weird to me that a lot of the decks don't even include the card, because it just feels like that is the...
I think when you don't play the statue, though, then the Shadow Essence is much, much weaker, because the statue's a really good hit off that Shadow Essence.
Now having to use part of his win condition in the Holy Smite.
Yeah, this is to protect... I think this is playing for the win, though. You know, just trying to protect that Psychic Scream, because this isn't the scariest board he's going to face this game, and you want to Psychic Scream the scariest board you face this game.
Yep. Really strong play, actually, by Pardub there. Because now, if Burro is using up 5 mana to complete this quest, he might be dealing with Velen, he might not be dealing with Velen. If he's dealing with Velen, he's not dealing with the other 2 minions.
Yeah, and you need to be dealing with Velen, because you don't know the hand is a bunch of gubbins.
Glad I got to hear that one last time today.
Still other options available, and other than when he missed the rope on that one turn, he's used his time very well.
But I'm sure that's weighing on his mind.
I think somewhere in the middle of this game, or 2 or 3 turns ago, it started to slowly evaporate. It's going to put on his mind if he loses, that's for sure.
Okay. So yeah, the Velen gets dealt with. Pardub does have the Eternal Servitude. There's a Shadow Essence as well. Like, I finally have these cards, I don't even want to play them.
Yeah, and... well, turns out these minions are big when you just cast them, when you actually get to this turn.
Yeah. Pardub curves into Obsidian Statue, then he can bring that back to life to protect him. 1 Vanish is already gone. It was used purely to complete the quest. Which minions are bigger? The big priest minions.
The thing with the priest minions, there's more of them than you think.
There are.
They keep coming back.
If you draw the Spellstone, that is. The earlier Pardub draws the Spellstone, now the better, because every spell he casts starts upgrading it.
And he doesn't really mind being Psychic Screamed on this board.
No.
Wouldn't mind a Lich King, even if it is only a 4/4. Yeah, get through that lot without Psychic Screaming. It'll take you a while. Burro just buying time now. Oof.
That's 20 damage. That's 20 damage right now.
Pew.
If not for those wax elementals, it would have been lethal.
Yeah.
Burro can heal up a little bit. He's got 1 Scale Hide.
And he might have to. But the nerfs are making a big difference in this one finally as well. A lot of 5s would have been nice at various points.
Right.
Elven Minstrel, if you can get some more stuff, would be very juicy.
Yeah, I mean, we should probably start counting how much damage Burro has on the backswing. He just needs to get through the Lich King. It's only 12, 16 damage now with the Brewmaster, but that's half of Pardub's health gone.
Can also rejuvenate the Divine Shield if he wants to with the Brewmaster.
Yep.
But he doesn't know what's... I mean, he probably knows he's not dead next turn, but he doesn't know it for sure. So he's got to deal with at least some of this. Well, he's got to deal with all of it.
He knows both Smites are gone. He knows 1 Mind Blast is gone.
I guess, yeah.
There once was a man.
You're scared of those Lich King cards. You can almost choose to ignore it. There's a Sonya, though. This changed things in a hurry last time we saw it. Obviously, it's not going to matter this turn, but that's a lot of damage coming up next turn.
So he's going to save that Scale Hide and play it with Sonya. That's a risk.
I mean, he has to take a risk at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, healing to 10 doesn't make a difference anyway,
Yeah.
because if the second Mind Blast is drawn, and if Pardub gets the spell damage, it's just lethal.
He is dead to so many things.
There's no difference between 6 and 10.
I think, yeah. He didn't want to use this. He wanted to be able to bounce it back and re-shield, I think.
Yeah.
But the rope was going, and he decided this time that he was going to get stuff going properly.
Okay, still no Mind Blast.
But he didn't burn it, I don't think.
He didn't burn it, and he has more pressure on the board than Burro does at the moment. Look at that, he's casting the second one.
Oh my goodness, and now he's got Lyra. Remember, he did have to use those smites early on not to die.
Mind Blast just got burned. Huge cheer from the audience.
Yeah, well, now Burro, when he gains his health with the Sonya nonsense, is going to just about get out of sight. And most of Pardub's win conditions have gone. Okay, he's got a lot of minions that can come back time and again and irritate. But he's just going to kill him really quickly.
Yeah.
Look at these Scalehides. They're going to take Malygos down.
Vitally, he can deal with the Lyra as well. Pardub gives the well played. He looks like he's had enough.
Yeah, and in fairness, we gave him the bad guy image, but he's played this in a sporting fashion in this final. He's sent out the well-playeds a couple of times,
but
not
the correct
sarcastically,
times, right.
the correct times. He didn't emote like the real bad guy would have emoted Burro when he roped that turn.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was surprised he didn't.
And he has chosen not to go that route because he wants to respect his opponent in the final. And he's going to be rewarded by getting beat. And the crowd are loving this, I've got to admit. Taking care of the Lyra, that's the way he could lose the game, is leaving that up. Yeah, they need to generate more damage, and there's no more damage coming. And look at this massive board.
Both spellstones gone. Yes, Pardub has a Psychic Scream.
And look at the state of Burro. This match has been absolutely draining for him, and he knows that this is probably the last turn. We might see one final sort of twist from Pardub, making him sweat it out a bit, but he knows it's over.
Burro's thinking, just please concede. Just please concede.
Yeah, you're going to have to win it.
Burro, he gets the Sonya back straight away. Burro can deal with Lyra, and I'm sure he will be dealing with this Lyra straight away. It's like the last thing Pardub has against him. Both
Everybody saw what happened to Fino in Montreal, and that's probably the only thing Burro's thinking about right now.
With both Spellstones gone, with, I think, both Eternal Servitudes gone now as well, and most of his deck milled by the armies of the dead, Pardub's just out of stuff.
Yeah, and he's going to get the chance to make one or two more things. Maybe he gets another Lyra. I think he has one more card he can fetch back, but it's going to have to be the Lyra of a lifetime because he's got no spells to cast.
There's just nothing left.
No, there really isn't. Burro just wants to get out of there.
He got another one, and another one. I think these are the only 3 spells left in the deck, Lorinda.
Yeah. I think,
they are.
Part of just having a bit of fun one last time.
And that's the concede. Burro, our hero, becomes the DreamHack Winter Champion. And what a well-deserved win that was, Cora.
Absolutely. We hyped up Pardub. He played his heart out, and I will say he played very well in that final. But it is Burro who will be taking home the title of DreamHack Winter Champion for 2018, taking the final DreamHack Tour stop of the year. Congratulations to him, and we have Derek out on the floor to present him with some flowers. Very beautiful, as always, and we're going to get some words with him when he comes back here. But let's just talk about that series a little bit here. Did that one go the way that you expected it to, Falk? Or did you think that Pardub would end up putting up a little bit more of a fight, I'll say?
I told you Burro was going to win. I did say that. I almost had a heart attack during that series.
You're not the only one.
At one point, I was almost on the ground. But Burro kept it together despite a pretty horrible technical mistake. He came back. I am thrilled that he won the series.
Yes, missing that attack with the Vicious Scalehide almost cost him that game, and then incidentally may have cost him that series. Lorinda, what was going through your head in that moment?
I didn't think he was going to be able to keep it together. He did, but I didn't expect that final to be particularly exciting. I've got to admit, because we didn't have the hyped players that we'd built up in the final, it's like felt like maybe it wouldn't live up. I was so wrong. That was one of the most exciting finals of any tour stop this year.
And I do want to say, I think a lot of the reason why that is because of the character that Pardub had built himself up as, and how committed he was to playing that part and how the audience was responsive to it. I mean, we had incredible chat interaction during that. We had really good viewership numbers. People seemed excited about the fact that Pardub was in the finals, but Burro has overcome the odds, and he is going to take this championship title. And let's go ahead and welcome him to the desk. Everybody, we've got your DreamHack Winter 2018 champion. It is Burro. Congratulations again. How are you feeling right now? What's going through your head?
I don't know what to say. That was probably the most intense series I ever played. I choked so hard, and then I had the exact lethal with 32 damage. And if I have choked again, I would have been so pissed, but I did it exactly, and it was so close, man.
Yeah, that was such a good recovery from that situation, because you could see it was on your mind. Oh no, not again. So well done on that part as well.
Talk to me a little bit about who you are as a player. Just give the audience a little bit of background on yourself, because, I mean, we didn't know much about you coming in, but you've certainly made a name for yourself over the course of this weekend.
Yeah, I've been playing Hearthstone for a while, and I've been playing a lot of online tournaments, so I'm kind of experienced as a tournament player, but this year I started playing in like tour stops and offline events, and I didn't have the breakout until now. I'm super happy right now.
Your teammates have had a little success as well, haven't they? This year?
Kamul was like top 16 in HCT Germany, and I was a bit sad back then because I didn't have the result, and I prepped with him a lot, and he's a good player, but I always felt like I could do that too. Now that I did it, it's fantastic.
I'd like to ask you just a quick question about Quest Rogue, because we've been talking about how proficient
the best deck in the game.
The best deck in the game after how many nerfs has it had now?
3.
4 nerfs.
Talk to me about...
No, 3.
Talk to me about Quest Rogue. Why do you think it's so great?
Well, back like 4 or 3 weeks ago, I already knew in last year's standing, Quest Rogue is really good, together with Death Rattle Hunter, because a lot of lineups ban Death Rattle Hunter, and they are still very weak to Quest Rogue. So if you bring these 2 decks, you are favored versus a lot of matchups. And then you gotta bring like 2 other strong decks, and yeah, Quest Rogue is really strong right now.
Well, talk to me about how you crafted that lineup then with the Death Rattle Hunter and the Quest Rogue. How did you decide what your other 2 decks were going to be?
Well, Death Rattle Hunter and Quest Rogue, yeah. And Mali Druid is like overall a strong deck. It's probably after Death Rattle Hunter, probably the best deck in the game right now. And I wanted to bring Autopala instead first to have a second Death Rattle Hunter counter together with the Quest Rogue. But my teammate Kamul convinced me to bring Evenpala. He said it's favored versus Death Rattle Hunter, but I'm not that convinced. Evenpala overall is really strong, but I don't think it's that favored versus Death Rattle Hunter, so I brought it with like 2 Spell Breakers, and feeling good right now.
Yeah, make the appropriate tech choices to get the matchups that you want, and exactly. Clearly it ended up working out. Are there any shout-outs that you want to give, maybe anybody that you want to thank while you have the chance?
Yeah, of course. Shout out to my teammates and my team, Royal Blue, and my teammates Kamul and my practice partner Shabo Dennis. Of course, shout out to my fans, if I have some, my family, my friends. They've been watching this, and it's amazing. They cheered for me. Yeah.
Well, frankly, I think we've got a star in the making here in Burro. Lorinda, would you please present our champion with his trophy, your DreamHack Winter 2018 champion, everybody. It is Burro from Germany. Congratulations again, man. You've done so well this weekend, really proven that anybody has what it takes to be a DreamHack champion if they work hard enough, if they put in the time, and if they get the experience. The play will follow, and you've certainly proven that you are very deserving of that title this weekend. And with that, we are officially finished with our DreamHack year. So many incredible events this year, and we finally have crowned our DreamHack 2018 Winter Champion in Burro, and that is going to do it for us here in the studio for this year of DreamHack action. Thank you so much again to Corsair for making this entire year possible and crowning all of these champions alongside us here in the studio. And thank you so much for watching. As always, it's always incredible to have your support, and for the players to have your support at home. But we hope you all have an incredible end of the year. Happy holidays, and we will be seeing you next year for more DreamHack Hearthstone Grand Prix.